So what we're going to do today, first of all, we're going to have a 50-50 raffle. So if you want to buy tickets to the 50-50 raffle, let's see, Barb and Kathleen, and there's a bucket there, and we can $1 a ticket. Let's see. So there's a couple of little housekeeping things. So there's a couple of women who are just amazing when it comes to yard signs. I mean, if you leave here today and you don't have the yard sign you want, get a hold of me, and these two women will deliver a yard sign to anybody anywhere. I know that's true because they've already done it. So Nancy and Margie, I know you all are here somewhere, but I don't see you. So you got to come up here. So this is just a little thank you. Thank you all. We couldn't do without you. Democracy in action. So the way we're gonna run the format for just a few minutes. We're not gonna take too much of your time, but I'd like each candidate that's here to have a chance to say a few words to you, and then the whole point of this is for you to meet them, really find out what they're about, pick the candidate you like the most, and devote some of your time and treasure to them over the next, I think, what is it, 74 days? 73 days. 73 days to elect all these good people. And when these people get up here and speak, I think you'll find most of them are a little bit reluctant, not really liking the speaking so much, because I don't know really one of them that's a career politician. What all these people are really good people, and when they tell you a little bit about themselves, every one of them is going to say, I love Wyoming. And that's why all these Democratic candidates are running, because we love Wyoming. And it's not an easy thing to do, and I'm so proud of them. So having said that, I think our candidate for U.S. Senate is here. Jim, if you'd like to say a few words. Jim Byrd, Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate.
There we go. Hey everybody, thank you for coming on this beautiful Wyoming windy day. Yeah, and you know what is even more cool? Is to be playing in the round. I feel like a rock star up here. Okay? Like I should be doing or something. But it's really, really nice to see a whole group of people who are like-minded, that I don't have to go back to square one to talk about why I'm running, what we're about. So I'm going to jump all the way to the advanced form here, because I know you Democrats are capable of keeping up with me. So, for those of you who don't know, why am I in this race? Well, when I left the legislature, which is a whole nother story, it was like, I'm never coming back into politics, you guys can go pound sand. And for the most part, that was the deal. But I was at home one day and I saw a little blurb on the TV about somebody wanting to give away, she said sell, but it really is a giveaway, public lands. And public lands in the state of Wyoming, let me tell you, if we were not the only state to be affected top down by this, we would be alone. And here's how it works. Most of you know public lands because you go out there and run around, you go do a little bit of fishing and maybe a little bit of hunting. But public lands are tied to the hip to our ag industry. There's ranchers, there's farmers who get supplementary leases for their operations to grow extra hay, whatever they grow on the farm side, and run extra beef. Without these acreages, they might not be able to make their payment. So it is really calculated into their bottom line. And we are Wyoming. We are basically an agricultural state. We take pride in that. And how dare you kick those people when they're down. So that's one of the things about public lands. The other is what I touched on a minute ago. Anybody in here know what our second largest industry in the state is? Tourism. 5.5 billion, that's with a B, billion dollars last year. 55,000 direct and indirect jobs in that industry. And they are all tied directly to public lands because those people make their living on guiding, fishing, and all sorts of other things in the backcountry, hunting and things like that. So I'm telling you that when somebody grabs their family back there in New Jersey and they say, kids, get in the SUV, we're going to Wyoming. And I know he's not bringing them out here to see the cool engineering that's in the mines up in Gillette, or the cool engineering that are in those pump jacks out on the Pinedale Anticline. They're driving all the way here to see one thing, Bambi and Boo Boo. And then when Dad can get a minute, he wants to do some of that world-class trout fishing in some of the most pristine waters on the planet. And you know the reason that exists? Because we have a relationship with our extractive industries. And it's not a, oh, by the way relationship. It's these are the rules. We'll let you do as much as you can, but you've got to reclamate this land and make it look like you were never there. And they are good about that. So that makes us not just good stewards of the land. We are the best stewards of the land. And that's why they come here and spend their money. So keeping that in mind is one of our Wyoming-based things that we do. When I saw that ad, I just kind of levitated in the air and almost threw something at my brand new TV. So I got with some people who are smarter than me, and they said, we'll figure it out. We'll see if you're viable. And an interesting thing happened along the way of that. Anybody know how many people did not vote in the last election? 170,000 people did not vote. Now I can tell you, right here, my win numbers is really just a small part of that. So you take my numbers from my last run, and you take this few other things and you mix them in with that. And you know what? There's one other thing. Per undesirables. And when we calculated that in, we were within the margin of error. So at that point it's, when are we going? Not why, or where, but when are we going? And so it was very easy to start this. I surrounded myself with some of the best people in the country. Right back there in the white with the bandana on is Madison Shanley. She is my campaign manager. Rock star extraordinaire. Please take a minute if you have one and talk to Madison. She is awesome. They keep me directed, they keep me pointed, and they keep my messaging. Jill, who writes for me, she's my comms director. She's not here yet. But when I get stumped or we have something that comes up, she's the person that hammers out the language so it all makes sense. And let me tell you how good she is. I was driving from Riverton. I have to think because I've been everywhere in the state. I was driving from Riverton to Casper. So we've got about 20 minutes of cell service outside of that. There was a thing that came up about them wanting to rename interstate, well, let me see, wanting to rename 287 to Trump Highway and make 287 a 4-lane highway. So I don't know if you guys know distances there, but before I got past Shoshone, she had already written the press release, read it back to me on the phone, and I had I had approved it, and it was going out for distribution. That's how fast we react. And so that is a way that we are doing our campaign. That is the way that we will do work in Washington, D.C. Because the other thing that's got me here is we are not being represented by our 3 elected in our federal delegation. Not at all. And they will tell you, yes, we are, we do something, and we're doing all sorts of things. You know what? They show up every time it's an election cycle with things telling you that we did this, we did that. My opponent is touting that she brought $500 million to the state of Wyoming for health care. No, she did not. No, she did not. That was already baked into the bill, and she voted against all the prior versions of it. So now she's trying to take credit for something she didn't even support in the beginning. But she knows that that is a loser for her, and so she's flipped. The same thing as you'll hear her say that she supports public lands. When that issue came out, she literally ran to the guy's office and got a copy of this. I know, I do, that she will sell the land out from under your feet if she has the opportunity to make a buck on the backside. And this is a personal experience from when I was in the legislature. She was a lobbyist for a group that wanted to develop land down there in the Front Range, Colorado. They needed water because that was a restriction that Colorado put on them for developing. So she got the developers convinced that they could put a pipeline, basically a straw, in the Green River Basin and take water out of Wyoming and pump it to the Front Range for housing. That had to come to the legislature because it was a statutory change. Fortunately, it came to my committee on minerals, and I got to see the bill before it got to the public. I went around and told everybody that sat on that committee, if you vote for this, you will see me in the hallway. And I'll see you come campaign time, because I will make sure somebody campaigns against you. It is against our basic principles to give away water, our water. And you see where we're at right now. We need every drop of our water, and they're back going after the Green River again. With the downstream compacts. They're trying to rewrite the downstream compacts and screw Wyoming over. And our delegation is doing what? Sitting on their thumbs, saying, sure, go ahead. Not me. I will be right there in their face. I'll make sure that if they get water out of Wyoming, it's over my dead body. And I feel that adamant about it. So that's just two of the other things that when you hear them talk about my opponent, remember that she is very good about telling you things that aren't true. And she will do that thinking that you are not smart enough to do the research. But we are Democrats, and we know that. And here's what we're going to do. As Democrats, I'm calling every single one of you out. I used to say back in the beginning, and Joe's over there, he knows this. This is you, this is 4 of your friends, all right? This is you get up in the morning, you take care of yourself. I want you to drive 4 of your friends to the polls. We're in the bell lap, we're in the final lap. We're doubling down on that. It's not 4 friends, it's 10 friends now, okay? And what you do with those 10 friends, you make sure they're registered, and you make sure that they get to the polls and vote. You make sure that they're informed so they make a good decision at the polls, and take them kicking, drag them, screaming, whatever. I'll be right behind you telling everybody, don't matter, don't worry about it, it's under control. So, this is what I need out of you, because this is going to be an extremely difficult race. I need everybody here to go out. And by the way, don't be afraid to talk to Republicans, because we have them on their heels. And if you don't believe that, there was a group called the Freedom Caucus who just got their butts handed to them in the election. Mostly by their own party. So we have people out there that are persuadable. So I'm deputizing everybody in this room. Go out and find a Republican and irritate them. Ruin their day. Tell them that we are not like Mondavi. We are Wyoming Democrats. We are moderately conservative. We want public lands. We want freedom of speech. We do not want a private, militarized force directed by the president coming into our state and dropping people into black site prisons. So, that's what I want you to do. If you have any questions, oh, I almost forgot. We have a new thing that we've just been working on. So, I talk about being from Wyoming. My family homesteaded here about 1862. So, when the rest of these guys show up, I love that all those guys in the candidate forums tell me they're from Wyoming and all of this, and some have been here less than 10 years. It's like, really? I got old rodeo tickets, okay? I got Taylor Swift tickets that are older than you, okay, from CFD. So, our new pitch, and everybody, we got here in 1862. I'm throwing it down to everybody within earshot. Come to our website, find us. The new value is $18.62. I would like you to donate to my campaign, and donate that today. So, thank you, Madison. Thank you to the rest of the team. And thank all of you Democrats for showing up today.
Thank you, Jim. That was great. Ken Kastner, would you like to say a few words? Ken Kastner, our Democratic candidate for governor, is here. He's going to be right with us, so I'll banter here or something for a few minutes. One thing that I'd like to say, just I thought of it when Jim was talking about how we force oil and gas companies to take care of what they do. We do, and we're not doing that with the data center. But I worked for oil and gas companies for a long time, and you would be surprised what we do. We drilled some oil wells on, some pristine national forest land. We paid kids to spend a whole summer on that land before we got there, picking seeds, wildflower seeds, grass seeds, all that sort of thing, so that after the oil well was done, we could reseed it exactly like it was before. I don't know how much you guys pay for lawn seed, but one 100-pound bag of seed that we did for that little project in 1981 cost $950. Because that's what we spent to collect all that seed. We can do the same thing with these data centers. That's the important thing to remember. So we have some leverage. They're not going to go anywhere else. They're going to build their data centers here. This is the best place in the whole United States to build data centers. So it's not like we can ask for something that they're not going to give us. So just remember that when our politicians start giving stuff away. Here's Ken.
Good afternoon. I'm Ken Kastner. I'm your hidden secret weapon that you haven't used yet. And the reason being is because when I filed on the 14th of May, I filed as an independent Democratic candidate. Wyoming law says to run in a Democratic Party, you have to be a part of that party. I've been 3 generations of Democrat, you just don't know. I also have a 2-star education. What I call a 2-star education is I've taken 3 shots at the governor's title. And during that time period, I've also studied from the county all the way to the top. Now, what am I going to do for you and your constituents? First of all, look around you. Look around and you see kids, and you see young kids running around here. We're the old war horses, everybody says, but there's the future out there. What are we going to give them? First of all, I have to see and talk to people in just my community. I run my own campaign. I don't take no money from anybody because you need the money. Everyone in this town and sitting in this place needs money. Number 1 issue in Wyoming today is universal health care. How are you going to get health care? I do it. I know exactly how to do it. Second, what's the next thing you're going to do? You say, well, we got all this money and we got all these minerals and we got everything else and we have to pay taxes and everything else. Let me ask you, what do you get on your returns and your taxes? What do you get back as a working family in Wyoming for taxes? You don't get very much. But if you go to Alaska and see what Alaska did way back when they said, oh, you want our oil? Okay, come on in. What did they do? They took that and they made that tax, and it's a royalty to everybody in the state of Alaska now. You get a royalty check at the end of the year. How do you pay for universal health care? That's easy to me. You have every avenue in this state to make money. And you hear it from every politician. I'm not a politician. And basically, I'm telling you from here. I'm not telling you from here. What I'm saying is you can do it real easily because, one, you have all the industry supposedly in coal. You have all the industry supposedly in wind turbines, and I think they're growing at a high rate of speed. You've got all this stuff, and yet you do not bring revenue back to your state and to the people. Now, your state needs adjusting too, and I want to adjust it. And the way I say adjust it is, I live in a business town of 150 people, a small little town called Mountain, Wyoming. And in that little town, I run a little restaurant. I've served 25 years in the Wyoming National Guard, 3 years in the United States Army, 1 overseas, and so I have over 28 years of military education. I was an instructor in the military. But that's besides the point. Now I went and I moved to Elk Mountain in 1998, and I said to myself, I want to see what happens from the top to the bottom, not from the bottom to the top. I ran in 2002 for governor, and I ran against Friedenbach, and I ran against all of them people. You're still fighting the same damn problems you did in 2002 to today, and that's not the way. However, with that being said, what did I learn in Elk Mountain? I learned something most people don't even get a chance to hear. I hear the world every day. And what I mean by the world is, Mr. Bird said our #1 thing is tourism. No, I disagree. Our #1 avenue of revenue is government. That's the #1. Because basically what happens there is, look at your rural communities. What have they lost? They've lost small businesses. They don't have the things that they need to have. They don't have the things that they need to operate. I can say this honestly and openly. I ran a small business for 28 years in Elk Mountain with a population of 150 people. And basically it's paid for. How did I accomplish that? Real simple. I had to do all the work myself. So when they come out and say I'm a 4th generation rancher, I go like this. I'm a 3rd generation working man. And I'm that kind of guy because everybody that's sat in this room has had a good life and work and do their job. We're forgetting. However, with that being said, I have a storefront. I'm going to ask you people a question. How do you tell if you're on a Wyoming highway compared to a federal highway? How do you know you're on a Wyoming highway? Anybody got an answer?
Can we be quiet, please? We're having a hard time.
The answer's real simple. In 1924, Wyoming passed a law. It said the county commissioners in Wyoming would designate highways. They designated them highways. Once them highways were designated, they came back and said, now who's going to administer that? Well, in 1929, they came up with the Wyoming Highway Patrol. They're the administrators. But what people don't understand is this. They're the administrators, but they're not administrators. You think they are, but they're not. And that's real easy to say. Why? Because I live on the Wyoming Highway, and the way you tile a Wyoming Highway is look at the stripes down the center of the street. If they're yellow, you're Wyoming. If it's yellow and white, you're on the interstate. So basically, they're supposed to take care of us. But the legislature and everybody else went and said this. we're gonna get a Title 31 in the Wyoming legislature. Title 31 says the sheriff can enforce the law. The town commissioners and the city council and the police force can administer the law. And the third one is the Wyoming Highway Patrol. 28 years on the street that is no longer, I would say, from where that lady out there is standing, is the front door to my store. And in 28 years, I've seen not one traffic ticket. Not one. Now this is going to rock the boat, and it rocks it because I speak from the heart now. I've got the thorns to do it. In Elkmount today, we have a Wyoming transportation facility there, and that Wyoming transportation facility gets employees, young ladies, young men, and everything to come there. Why? How do they do it? You're 46 miles from the grocery store, you're 52 miles from Wyoming, and all this, so how do they do it? They say this: you come up here and work in the Wyoming Highway Department, we'll give you a house, we'll give you your gas, we'll give you your sewer, we'll give you everything you get. Who pays for that? Me. Every one of them. And you ask me, right? Yeah, because we don't get that. And basically there's a deal, because you're not getting your revenues. You think of these guys that are way up at the top in Wyoming right now. You think of your data center out here right now. They are all taxable. Every one of them is taxable. And what you should be saying is people in voting in Wyoming, is you said, what's our payback? Where do we get our money? Because I want to tell you, I hear it all the time. Number one, what would you do with public lands? That's our land. That's not their land. And it will never be their land, as far as I know. Number two, what are you going to do about data centers? I'm going to tax the living heck out of it. You want to come? Come on. Bring it on. Come on in. But when you get in there, you're spending, what's the average data center going to cost? Over $4 billion. Well, where do you get it? You're losing your water, your air, your stuff, and we're losing it. Now, how do I take on Eric Barlow? I'm going to tell you how to take on Eric Barlow, if you would like. Listen just a minute. You take on Eric Barlow by one important avenue. That important avenue is your damn birthrights. Believe it or not, it's you. It's the voter with the birthright to do it. If we don't, in this recent election, he got a funding by the outside. He says it's in the inside. I'm saying it's the outside. Because basically he got a funding of $1,640,000 for Wyoming to run against James Byrd or anybody else, the governor in the state of Wyoming. That's what he's got. You know what I say to that? That's making me smile, because now he's lying to you. And how do I know he's lying to you? It's real simple. There is legislative laws that have been on the books for over 40 years. And that 40 years is one of them is, do you know a rancher can go out to, he owns the land, so he owns everything.
I'm so sorry, we have to move on to the next candidate. We have a representative for
Can I
Lisa.
just let me finish this little statement?
1 sentence.
Okay, 1 sentence, okay? Well, then there's 262,000 people in Wyoming that didn't vote. Put that in your stocks, because that's what you need. You need to get out there and get them people moving. There you go. 1 sentence left.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much, folks. Thank you. And the young people we got to support too.
All right, thank you, everyone. For anyone who doesn't know, because I left my name tag in one of the 3 bags I had to bring back from the DNC, I'm Lindsay Hamlin. I'm the vice chair of the State Democratic Party. One of our amazing candidates, our U.S. House candidate, Lisa Kinney, could not be here with us today. She got ill. But someone I know very well, has been a very hard worker and has been working with her a lot. And so I'm actually going to hand things back over to my father, because he can tell you a little bit more about Lisa and all the reasons why she's also one of the amazing candidates we need to be supporting today. And one of the candidates who can help us fulfill the promise of the ABCs, which is anything but Chuck. Yeah.
So I'm the one that talked Lisa into running. She reminds me of that every day. Ted, what did you do? But the truth is, Lisa's a great candidate for U.S. House of Representatives. Unlike Mr. Gray, she was actually in the Wyoming Senate for about 10 years. She was the Senate Minority Leader in the Wyoming Senate, so she knows a little bit about legislation. She's passionate about public lands. She's a librarian. She's passionate about libraries. So all the things that we like, all the things that we are fighting for, Lisa will fight for too. And I believe that the Republicans just gave us a great gift, because maybe I could quiz the people here, but does anybody like Chuck Gray? So the thing we have to do is we have to support Lisa, we have to support Jim, we have to support all our statewide candidates, and we've got one more. We've got Ana Cordova, the candidate for State Superintendent of Public Instruction. If I were here, would you like to say a couple words, Ana?
Hello, Laramie County. I'm Ana Cordova, and I am running for Superintendent of Public Instructions because I believe in public education and I believe in Wyoming. I'm born and raised here, third generation Wyomingite, and I'm a product of the public schools. Now, you guys might not realize this, but Dave Friedenthal's daughter and I went to high school together. We graduated together. We were in the same class at Central High. And I just want you guys to think for a second, what other state does the governor send their children to public schools and not private schools? That kind of trust, that kind of endorsement of our public schools really says something about the quality of education in Wyoming. Now, to compound that, what state has public schools where the school that the governor's daughter went to also has feeder schools that are Title I, meaning the families that are struggling the most, the families experiencing poverty and other struggles, and they're offered the same exact opportunities, the same instruction, and the same education as the governor's daughter. That too says something amazing about Wyoming public schools. The quality state is really captured in public education in Wyoming, where everyone is afforded the opportunity to pursue life, liberty, and happiness, where everyone has opportunities, where no one's discarded due to their socioeconomic status or party or other aspects of their background. So I was given the opportunity, which I am so thankful for, of being a product of Wyoming Public Schools. Like I said, I went to Central, class of 04. Go Big Red. And after that, I did what a lot of young people do in the state. I left, unfortunately. I did pursue my undergraduate at New Mexico State in biochemistry. I further studied at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine, where I was pursuing a PhD in human genetics and molecular biology. And all of that was funded by the Bill Gates Millennium Scholars Program. That was an amazing organization that also believed in public education of young people who are committed to their community. One of the big parts of receiving that opportunity and receiving those monies was showing that I was committed to helping the community, that I had a history of community service and leadership, and I showed it, apparently. And that was mainly due to my involvement in the Cheyenne and Laramie County community through organizations like the Laramie County Library. I'm proud to have been on the Youth Advisory Board back when the library was north of the Capitol, and actually helped design our new, beautiful, fabulous library. I say new, it's like 20 years old. But I was a part of that. And it brings me so much joy to know that the people of Cheyenne, the people of the communities can have a lasting impact, a big impact, an impact that provides to the community what the community is willing to put in. Another area that I worked with was Laramie County Head Start and Community Action. And also the Hope organization, which I guess is kind of redundant, but the Hispanic Organization for Progress in Education, which I still help with to this day. I actually noticed we have one of our scholars here in the audience. I won't point her out, but she is amazing. And just another piece of evidence of the power of our Wyoming schools. I wish her the best, and I'm sure she will do us proud. So, anyway, you might be wondering who I am, which is fair. I haven't been here for a while. I just moved back in April. I spent a little over the last decade living in DC, and that might raise some eyebrows in this arena, and I realized that. However, I was working, again, for people, for community, for nonprofits primarily, all within the higher education space. I worked for Georgetown University in their School of Medicine. I worked for the American Association for the Advancement of Science in developing science curricula for 8th and 10th grade science students that was rigorously tested and shown to outperform typical curricula in the schools where we were able to implement it. I also worked for the Access Lux Institute, which is the only nonprofit dedicated to supporting legal education in all 212 law schools around the nation, including our great law school at the University of Wyoming. And then went on to the Council for Advancement and Supportive Education, which is primarily focused on advancement, meaning alumni relations, philanthropy, and support from those outside of colleges and universities to support their mission. And within that context, I was working primarily with minority serving institutions and indigenous communities, which is, again, something I'm so proud of, to be able to focus on those that maybe don't have the same opportunities due to socioeconomic status or other barriers. So I would like to ask you to vote for me. I hope you will learn more about my campaign, more about my platform, what I stand for, what I think I can bring to Wyoming. And a big part of that is leadership, and leadership is about listening. So I want to know what you see, what all Wyomingites see. Not just the Democrats, but everyone, because everyone deserves a voice at the table when it comes to deciding our future, and our children, and education is the future. So with that, please find me online, please find me here. I'd love to talk to you more. My Facebook is available at, if you go /ANA4, the number 4, WY, that's also my Gmail address, and I'm happy to give my cell phone number out if any of you have any questions. Thank you so much for coming out. I hope you're enjoying the food, and yeah, go Laramie County, go Wyoming.
Thank you, Anna. We're going to, all of our legislative candidates that are here, I'm going to give them all a chance to speak. There's a lot of them, so y'all, if you be as brief as you can, and I know we're all,
Kenny was the representative.
we're all political animals here, so we like to hear ourselves talk, but as brief as you can would be great. I'm going to try to go in order if I can remember the order. I think House District 7 is first, so Gavin Lobmeyer, House District 7.
Hello, hello. My name is Gavin Lobmeyer. Like Ted said, I'm running for House District 7. So for those of you who do not know, that's above Dell Range, right below 4 Mile, from the left of I-25 all the way over to Powder House. Kind of looks like Texas in the middle of the map. It's a little weird. The district has only existed for about 3 cycles now. And I really have a couple things I want to say. First and foremost, I've become the de facto young person for Laramie County. So, you know, I think we hear a lot that we need the youth to engage in politics. And after a month of trying to get somebody else to run, they told me I should do it myself, so here I am. Thank you. And I think that's what it takes, right? I think all of us can contribute in some capacity, in some form, whether that's helping a candidate, whether that's door knocking, phone baking, donating, even just hosting dinners for them. There's a multitude of ways that you guys can help us. It's not putting your face everywhere, it's not running itself, but supporting the candidates. This is the year to vote for the Democrats. I will say it is a shocking revelation to know that this is the only capital city that does not have primarily progressive representation in their Congress in the entire U.S. That's a big fact. And this year, we're going to change that. We have a phenomenal slate of wonderful candidates. I have myself, all of my other comrades here will speak to you as well. And I will leave you with saying that I'm asking you to vote for me, but not just for me. I'm asking you to vote for me, your grandchildren, your sons, your daughters, and the kids yet to come. Because Wyoming, we have kids here, but we need to keep them here, and we need to give them opportunity to be here. And that starts by giving us a seat at the table. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Gavin. That's a great candidate right there. We have a candidate for House District 8, and that's Brenda Little, so I'm going to give her the mic now.
Hi everybody, thanks for being here. I'm running for House District 8. House District 8 is the Point, Mustang Ridge, and north, including the Ranchettes. It goes all the way north to the Torrington Highway. The west border is Yellowstone Road. The east border is Christensen Road. It's mostly rural, except for the Point and Mustang Ridge. In the primary election, there were 2 Republicans running. Steve Johnson, who was the incumbent, who was a member of the Freedom Caucus, and Luke Reiner. Luke Reiner beat him. Steve Johnson was one of the people that was defeated in the washout of the Freedom Caucus. So I am now running against Luke Reiner. And what I feel I owe the voters of House District 8 is where I differ from Luke Reiner. And so I'm just going to give a quick rundown of some of those things. On his website, Luke tells voters that he is pro-Wyoming energy industry, basically carbon-based energy. I understand that because when I was in Leadership Wyoming, we toured a mine up in Gillette. We talked to miners, and I know that the mining industry has not only supported families, but supported our government here in Wyoming. However, I would like to expand that and also back wind and solar energy, and I would be open to looking at a severance tax also for wind and solar energy taken from Wyoming. Mr. Reiner talks about being pro-life. I like to describe myself as not pro-life or pro-choice because I think those are political labels that can be false at times. I am pro-women's health care and privacy. A woman's medical decision, especially very difficult ones, are between her and her doctor and should be private, and the government has no place in making that decision. Speaking of medical care, Mr. Reiner claims that he, cares about medical something. I'm not quite sure what, but my goal would be to once again try to expand Medicaid. We are one of 10 states who have not expanded Medicaid. It is still available to us, even in this administration, and I would like to talk about doing that, and also an idea that Ted gave me, which is having Wyoming be its own self-insure, not self-insure, but reinsure. Yes, we can look at those things. Housing. I am currently on the My Front Door board, which is a housing program here in Cheyenne that helps people save money to buy their own homes. I am on the board of directors for that program. And when I was at the Department of Family Services, I spent about 16 years as an administrator at the Department of Family Services. And one of the jobs that I was given by Governor Meade was to be his first, what he called homelessness czar. And I wrote the initial 10-year plan to reduce homelessness in Wyoming. That was, under Governor Meade, so that was a few years ago. But I also was administrator over the Child Support Enforcement Program, TANF, SNAP, and child care subsidies. And so I know Mr. Reiner has also served in this state as being the head of Department of Transportation. But I served in programs that help people and help working families get the money they need to survive and to support their families. I also want to talk quickly about data centers. Mr. Reiner does not mention those, but one of the first things I would like to do is support legislation that will close a loophole in the Industrial Siting Act so that any data centers that are built here in Wyoming have to report to the public what their impact is. Right now they don't have to if they build on an industrial site center. And it's because of a loophole in the law that can be closed by the legislature. And I intend to do that. And thank you. And the big thing is schools. And many of you know my very handsome husband over here, who is the superintendent of schools for Laramie County School District 1 for many years, and I learned a lot from him. And Mr. Reiner mentions on his website that he is pro-parent involvement in education. I'm not quite sure what that means. It sounds nice, but I'm not quite sure what it means. But what I can tell you is I am in favor of full funding for schools and local control of each school district by their school board and their administration to make sure that the local needs are kept in a school district and that they are fully funded. I also oppose any kind of banning of books that have already been approved by a school district librarian. It's like, come on, let the professionals do that. And I have something here that I don't know what I mean. How about that? But, oh yes, I know what it is. One of the things I want to mention very, very quickly, my last thing, is as a lawyer, I worked for state government, as I said, for 16 years, and then I went to work for a company called National Debt Relief. Some of you may have gotten their advertisements and that kind of thing. I was their Wyoming attorney, so I had about 300 clients at any one time here in Wyoming. And what that taught me was some of the real financial problems that people here in Wyoming are going through, mostly because of medical bills and losing their jobs. And so it's very real. If people have financial crisis here in Wyoming, it's very, very real. And I really want to touch on that and help people where I can. Brenda Little, House District 8, thank you very much.
Thank you, Brenda. So we have Stephen Latham running for House District 9, but he's not here. So next in order is House District 11, which is Brittany Tennant. Go Brittany.
Thank you, Ted. I also just want to thank Ted and the Laramie County Democratic Party for putting on this picnic today and giving us all an opportunity to connect and spend some time with each other. So how about a round of applause for Ted and his team. So I think most of you know me. I'll try to keep it brief. My campaign assistant here, otherwise known as my child, has been instructed to give me a countdown on the minutes. But I am a Cheyenne native. I graduated from Central High School. I am a UW graduate. I also have a master's degree from Regis University in nonprofit management. For the last 20 years, I have stood on the front lines of the problems in this community as I serve our animal welfare community. There are very few places in this town where people can go to get help for their pets. And usually they're getting help for their pets because they need help for themselves. So all of those people with all of those various problems have been at my front door for the last 20 years, and it is in an effort to help those people that I am running for this office now. Some of my priorities as I've gone door to door in the district this election season have evolved a little bit. One of those, now that we are past the primary season, and let us all be thankful for the success that we had during that season. Yeah. What I love about what just happened in the primaries is that it shows that that Wyoming is still capable of coming together and doing what is right for our state. I am not interested in continuing to further that tribal divide between our parties. So I do not think a one-party system is going to serve our state very well, and we are still very much at risk of that happening. So one of the things that I'm trying to focus on is really getting the message across to people that we have strong representation from the opposition party already, but Cheyenne deserves a seat at every single table. And right now, we don't have a seat at some of those tables. So it is very important that we look at some of those Democratic candidates for that purpose. I also want to talk a little bit, not about economic diversification, but about economic prosperity. It's not enough to bring businesses into this community if they aren't giving back to the community, if they aren't creating jobs, and if they aren't moving us forward in a direction that suits our children and our future. So when I talk about economic opportunity in this community, I'm often going to be looking at what is creating real opportunity for our communities and not just another business license. Okay? We gotta have more places that are giving back to us. Healthcare and education, we can't talk about these things enough. We are talking a lot about what is the future of Wyoming and how do we take care of our children, how do we create opportunity for them. I think that starts with being able to raise a family in Wyoming in the first place. And right now it's getting harder and harder to have a baby safely here, and it's getting harder and harder to find childcare for those children once we do have them. So if we want to protect our future and we want to grow and we want to maintain a stable economy, we are going to have to create an environment that is welcoming for families, and right now we don't have that. Public education is a big one. I am a staunch defender of public education. I want to say right now I vehemently oppose the school voucher programs. I do think that parents should be able to educate their kids how they want. I also think that if we are using public funds, they need to stay in the public school system. And lastly, I wouldn't be a Wyoming girl if I didn't talk about those public lands, because what is it about Wyoming that sets us apart from the rest of the country? It is these beautiful landscapes that we are tasked with stewarding. Not 1 inch of public lands is for sale, in my opinion. And we can't just talk about the beautiful landscapes. And I personally cannot talk about public lands without talking about the wildlife that are on them. Jim made a comment earlier that people come here to see Yogi Bear. They do, and Yogi Bear deserves to be treated with kindness and respect. And we have seen a deterioration in the way that we treat those animals, so you can count on me to fight for that welfare as I get into public office. So what you can expect from me is to be open and transparent. I have spent my entire career solving problems in this community and working with people who have different points of view. I will continue to do that in the legislature for you. I need you to vote for me, I need you to donate to my campaign, but most of all, if you have the time and the energy, I need you to help me talk to my neighbors. Come talk to me if you want to volunteer for this campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, Britt. These people want me to announce that we're doing our last pass on the 50-50. They'll come right to you. If you want 50-50 tickets and you don't have them, just raise your hand and one of our volunteers will come by and fix you up. We got some right over here, y'all. Okay, so we're going to jump from 11 to 41. So this is Stacy Becker for House District 41.
Hello everybody, I'm Stacy Becker. I'm kind of socially awkward and sometimes I mix up my words. So just be prepared for that, it might happen. I'm from Cheyenne. My family actually moved here when I was 6 weeks old, so I'm almost a native. I've been here for over 50 years. The things that I'm running on, the things that are really important to me, the first one is healthcare expansion. We need to have affordable healthcare in Wyoming. I have a personal story here. A couple of years ago, my niece's wife had a stroke. She's in her 20s, she had a stroke. She had to be flight for life, flown to Colorado. And they ended up with a $150,000 bill just for the flight for life. These two just got married, they're just starting out, and they just filed medical bankruptcy. So we need more affordable health care. This is affecting real people. This is a real situation. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is public education. I think that public education is very important, and I think that it's most important that it start with early childhood education. My background is in juvenile justice and criminology. I've been a deputy at the jail. I've worked as a case manager at the halfway house, but for the most part, juvenile justice is my passion. A lot of these kids that I see come through the juvenile justice system, this all started when they were young. And it started because their parents are caught up in a pattern. They're raising their children the same way that they were raised. And early childhood education gives us the opportunity to get in there, work with these kids, work with the parents, and then we're going to see a lot less adjudication of youth in Wyoming. See, awkward. My background is, like I just said, in juvenile justice, and my most recent position was at the state of Wyoming. I worked for the Behavioral Health Division, and my job at the Behavioral Health Division was to find services and residences for juveniles who couldn't live at home. They couldn't stay in their current school situation. They couldn't get service from Medicaid. They couldn't focus in their community. The parents were having a really hard time. And I'm talking about children who are setting fires. I'm talking about children who are violent. Children who need a lot of help. And again, I think a lot of these kids are stuck in a cycle. So these kids who need a lot of help, my job was to help the parents and to help the kids and to help the school district and to do the right thing for this child. And the thing that we ended up doing for the majority of children was placing them in out-of-state facilities at the cost of roughly $300,000 a year. So we need to really establish more youth mental health care in Wyoming. We need to establish facilities where these youth can be taken care of and still be near their families. They didn't choose this for themselves, right? They're part of our Wyoming community and we need to support them. And so I think that that's probably my biggest brain thing, is to make sure that we have mental health care for the youth and that we have physical health care for everybody, and mental health care for adults also, of course, because it's important too. And that's it. I'm done being socially awkward. Thank you all so much for listening to me. And I'm running for House District 41, and I hope that everybody has a wonderful day before it starts sprinkling.
So next we go to Jim Van Dyke. He's been our faithful cameraman, but he's also running for House District 42. So Jim Van Dyke.
Hello, I'm Jim Van Dyke, and running for House District 42. My main issue is my career has been in supercomputing and data centers. And it doesn't mean I'm a proponent for them. It means that I understand what needs to be done to keep them in control and doing functionally well. And that means for the community. Right now we have it sort of, it's the Wild West, basically, that there's very few regulations. Regulations can be put at the state, county, and city level. And a lot of those regulations are just sort of lax. Yes, we could do industrial siting, but the city and the county could also do their own things about making sure that the citizens get supported, that programs are supported. These companies make lots of money, and they're going to make lots of money being here. Here is a great facility site. Large networks run by here. The weather is good. It's arid. The temperature is reasonable. And so they want to be here. So we need to use that as an advantage instead of saying, hey, we're going to really give you a lot of tax breaks and you don't really have to do much for the community. No, that should not be what we do. We need to get them under control. So anyway, I don't want to take up much time, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Jim's a really good guy. He volunteers for everything. He does everything really well. He's going to be a great representative when we elect him. So that's all our House district candidates, I think. I got everybody right. Nobody. Oh, yeah. Well, there's actually one more. House District 12. We're not sure we got the write-in votes for Greg, but I'm almost positive we got the write-in votes for Greg.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm Greg Winters. I live over on the south side of District 12. That runs from Fox Farm Road and South Greeley Highway and down to the border in that area. Anyway, I couldn't get on the ballot. You know, when you first sign up, because I work for the U.S. government. And with the Hatch Act and all that, you're against the Hatch Act. So anyway, I retired on July 31st and put my name in the write-in. So I don't know for sure if I got, it takes 25 votes. And according, I haven't found out, but according, you know, to the tally there, they had that there were 55 or 51 in my district. So I think I got a pretty good chance. I'm Wyomingite. I grew up in Lander. They told me I was born in Casper. I spent 20 years in the U.S. Navy, 21 years. And I went to work out on the hobby shop on the base. I'm a mechanic. What I did is I helped young airmen. I passed on my skills to them. And it was really a satisfying job. Anyway, I'm running because, you know, I pay attention to what's going on. I look at what the legislators, I look at it before they're in session, and I think I can do better than that. And I love my country and I love my state, and I'm just hoping for the best for the whole country.
Thank you, Greg. We actually tried to do another write-in. We had a candidate that had real life happen. She couldn't afford a rent, had to move out of the district. And so we had 12 days with that candidate still on the ballot, 12 days to get somebody 25 write-in votes in House District 61. We only got 23 write-in votes in House District 61. But it was a great effort, and Meg Valharmy is here, and so I'd like to shout her out. Meg, love you. Thanks so much for trying. We actually this year have 2 candidates for county commissioner. It's been a long time since there was a Democratic candidate for county commissioner. They're both here today, I think. I saw them both. There's Lynn. So I'm going to let Lynn Davis for county commissioner have the mic for a little bit.
Thank you, Ted. Hello, everybody. When we drove up, I'm going, where'd all these cars come from? There are so many people here. And it's just so, it's so exciting to see, because I think last year we had a dozen, maybe 20. And this is just, I mean, this is what we've been working for. And I decided to run because this is for county commissioner, in case he didn't say. And I couldn't not. I had to help the Democrats get somebody on the ticket. And so I put my name on there, and lo and behold, I actually care about it, you know. And in the past month or two, I've been looking at what it is I can bring to the county. And the county does everything in Laramie County except for what's in the city. So if you are wondering what a county commissioner does, but lots of some things that are pretty similar to what happens in the city, but it's the area that is not encompassed in the city. And so we're affected by annexations, for example, on data centers. And I think enough people have talked about data centers. Just briefly, I am not against data centers. I think they have a lot to offer. I think there's a lot going on with AI that I don't discount. However, we need some guardrails, some very serious guardrails, and we need some time enough to figure out how we can turn this to our advantage. I think there's a lot going on right now with the city and accepting people into the city, companies into the city that we haven't fully vetted, and we haven't fully decided what it is what we need from them in addition to what they need from us. And so I'm going to be looking at that very closely. They've talked about the Industrial Siting Commission, and Freddie can talk, or Barbara can talk more about that. But I wanted to speak just a little bit about communication, because one of the things I'm noticing is that a lot of people felt very blinded by what was happening with data centers. They were coming in and they didn't know anything about them, and they didn't know where to find information, and it was frightening. And you could see that in the city council meetings that lasted past midnight. So I think the issue of communication to the public is really important, and my background is in that. I have a background in digital library work, which was one of the first national digital libraries for Earth System education. And I was involved with teachers, with the school districts, professional development for teachers, in making sure they can get the information quickly and can use it in their classrooms. So I have an education-based background as well as a technological background. And I think what's happening with AI is pretty exciting in terms of what it can do for education, along with a lot of other things. But I would like to make sure that we use that to an advantage so that everybody can get educated or find out about it, become civically involved as well. And this is a great turnout. I'm really glad to see the civic involvement happening here today. So I've been experimenting with ways for people to go online and get information about what's happening in Wyoming for data centers, what's happening in Wyoming as far as legislation goes, and have it be sort of a clearinghouse for information so that people can understand it and possibly get real information before they hear it from somebody else. And I think we can do that. Using AI has promising technology for that. Also to keep track of all of the data centers that are coming up in Wyoming, especially in Malheur County. And there's a lot of them, and it's hard to keep track of what all they're doing. There's a lot of pieces, a lot of pieces involved in that. But again, my name is Lynn Davis, County Commissioner. I appreciate your vote, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Lynn. We have one more county commissioner candidate, Barbara Cabot.
Hi everyone, I'm Barbara Cabot. You might know me as Freddie, that's my nickname. I was born at Laramie County Memorial Hospital in Cheyenne, and I graduated from East High and from the University of Wyoming. So I worked for Wyoming DEQ for a number of years, and I retired from Dyno Nobel after 28 years as the Senior Environmental Manager for North America. So I permitted, ran, operated, constructed, decommissioned, shut down, and remediated chemical plants and refineries all over Mexico, Canada, and the United States. So I'm very familiar with the big con, which we are now experiencing with our data centers. I'm a big advocate of the Industrial Siting Act. It was established in 1975 when we had a big power plant boom in this state. And they did great things. They made it so the power plants came, they built, and when they left, they didn't trash the communities in their wake. We have a boom and bust kind of economy in Wyoming. We've had it for years, when I was a small child, my mom just became a realtor, and she was selling all these repossessions in our petition. Boeing had come to Cheyenne for a number of years, and then Boeing left to go to Seattle. And everybody in the art edition pretty much mailed in their keys. So my mom would be very excited on the weekend. She could sell 5 houses on a weekend for $100 down. Well, we don't want that to happen to our property this time, so we need more community involvement. Like everyone said, they're circumventing the Industrial Siting Act by putting their data centers in these annexed city business parks. And the city council is promoting that. So as running for county commissioner, there's not much I can do about that. However, there are Laramie County land use regulations that need to be revised. They were revised in 2025, and all this kind of stuff could be put in there. I have handouts over here on the kind of things that the county commissioners could affect. And a couple of those things are bonding at the end. They need to bond everything. If they want to build something, it needs to get a bond. When I was working for Dyno Nobel, I had to bond all of our plants with Lloyd's of London. Every year I calculated what it would cost to shut down a plant, what to scoop it out, how much it would cost the company, and we had to put in money into the bond to ensure that we didn't walk off and leave a big mess for Cheyenne or any of these communities that we were involved in. So they need to do this as well. We do not want a data center graveyard in 20 years. You all probably wonder, why is this happening so fast? Why? All over the country, not just Cheyenne, everywhere. Well, it's the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. It allows them to depreciate all of their capital expenses in 1 year. And the depreciations used to be over the life of whatever the property was, like your car, when you depreciate it, or your home, or any of those kinds. Well, now, with the One Big Beautiful Bill, anything they buy, land, chips, buildings, it can all get depreciated. So it's virtually free to the companies. It comes off their taxes. But they're very concerned that the midterms are going to change their world, because if the Democrats take over the House and the Senate, nationally, yes, which we're really hoping for, that can rock their world. So it is a big rush. And they're just going to keep rushing to make this happen. And somehow they've convinced our city council and our existing Laramie County commissioners that it's great, and they all need to be in bed with them. They're signing NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, and making all kinds of side deals and giving them big tax write-offs. And well, meanwhile, Zuckerberg's saying, I'm going to give you $1 billion, Cheyenne. You're going to make $1 billion. Well, let's put that in writing. So there again, if you're going to say it, we want the promises and we want it written down. So anyway, vote for Barbara Cabot and Laramie County Commissioner.
Thank you, Barbara Cabot. So there's one last candidate. There's 17 Senate seats open in Wyoming this year. 31 Senate seats overall, but they're 4-year terms and they're staggered. So 17 of them are open this year. Sadly, Democrats are only running for 3 of those seats. The good thing is, all 3 are in Laramie County. Shifa Hamid, Senate District 31. Jim Lee, Senate District 7. And some guy named Ted Hanlon, Senate District 5. So, my belief is that there's 3 things y'all want to know about me. The 3 things everybody wants to ask. Who am I? Why am I running? And what am I going to do when I'm elected? Well, like Barbara and like a lot of other people, I was born in Cheyenne, DePaul Hospital. I went to Arp Elementary. I went to Johnson Junior High. I graduated from Cheyenne East. I got a degree in chemical engineering from the University of Wyoming. But the real education I got, the education that helps me with things like this, my life lessons, were on the little ranch that my family still has, right on the Wyoming-Colorado state line south of Encampment. And the reason I'm running has everything to do with that little ranch. And it has to do with a story that everybody told me when I was too little to remember the story. My mom and dad were bouncing along a little 2-track, trying to fix fence. It's almost dark. They come across somebody who'd left a gate open. And there's about 100 head of Big Creek steers in on our little pasture. Well, you know there's not going to be anything left of that pasture if you leave them overnight, and it's too late at night to try to get help. So Mom, Dad, and me, 3 years old, standing on the pickup truck seat. There wasn't such a thing as car seats back then. we all jump out to try to get those steers. Well, it's dark, the steers are getting spooky, and all of a sudden 100 head of steers are running right at me. Now, I don't know what you'd do if 100 head of steers were running at your 3-year-old, but my dad was kind of old school. He'd done 50 missions in a B-17 over Germany and Austria, so he thought about things a little bit differently than most of us. And so his solution was to yell, "Turn 'em, Ted, turn 'em." So I started jumping up and down with my little red cowboy hat that all 3-year-olds at that time had, and I turned them. I'm still here. They went back through the gate. Then I grew up and got busy with life, and I forgot that it's my job to take care of the pasture. And a bunch of charlatans rode into Wyoming trying to destroy everything we love about this little state, from public schools to public libraries to public lands. And I can feel my dad looking down saying, "Turn 'em, Ted." So that's why I'm here. So what I'm going to do when I get there, and I promise you if any candidate for Senate in Wyoming says that they're going to bring world peace, they don't really know what the job entails. And for a candidate that's going to be in a small minority in the Senate, they don't understand what the politics of the Senate are. But even with all that, there are some things that I will do. The first one is, we've talked about it in a couple of these speeches here this afternoon, I'm going to change the Industrial Siting Act so that it covers all these data centers, whether they're an established business park, no matter what the investment each year is going to be, we're going to cover the data center with the Industrial Siting Act. The Industrial Siting Act was written to mitigate socioeconomic impacts to communities, and we deserve to have that happen with these data centers. The second thing I'm going to do is expand Medicaid. That's our money. That's money we give to the federal government every year. Every other state, well except 10, uses it to expand Medicaid. We haven't done that, and it's hard on our people and it's hard on our hospitals. And the third thing I'm going to do that I'm just absolutely positive I can do, it's just a little thing, but we know with all these data centers our electricity costs are going to go way up, right? It's a huge demand on a commodity. We all know what happens when you make a huge demand on a commodity. The price is going to go up. So if we all had a lot of money, we'd put a big solar system on our roof. And we'd avoid that. But we don't all have a lot of money. But they have this marvelous new invention called a plug-in solar panel. And you just set that panel up, plug it into your outside outlet, and you're making your own electricity. For about 200 bucks, you can do it if you're renting the house. If you own the house and you have 200 bucks, you can do this. But our last session of the legislature decided that this wouldn't be legal in Wyoming, despite the fact that it's legal in Utah and a half a dozen other states, and it's legal all over Europe. We decided we wouldn't do it in Wyoming. Well, that seems like a small thing I can change too. So those are three little things that I know I can do no matter how the Senate's set up. So I really think that if you would vote for me for Senate District 5, I can do some things for you. Thank you. I think that's everybody. We have a DJ, don't leave. Talk to these candidates. Every single one of them needs your time and treasure. They need your volunteer time, and they need your contributions. Oh yeah, there's literature up here for every candidate. Almost all of it is really good stuff. There's all kinds of signs. Don't make us take them home. I'm going to have to pack them up if you don't take them. So please take all the signs. And make sure, if you don't get a sign, you want, get your name to me. Like I say, Nancy White and Margie Sewell are out here somewhere, and they'll get you a sign. I promise that. Those women are fantastic. They will take the sign to you. They'll install it in rock hard ground. They have the skill set for that. I've seen pictures. So I guess we're going to do a 50-50 raffle, right? Y'all ready for this?
Yeah. Mix them up. I gotta get my tickets. Put them on top.
You heard, it was rigged.
Okay, so here's the money. Too much. How are we doing this? Don't make it up. Okay.
Okay, I'm not looking, I swear. I'm going to mix them up so they're not all on top. Okay, if you have a ticket ending in 267, you're the winner of the 50-50 raffle. We have a winner. What'd they win, Mimi?
They won, I think 150, 60, 70, 170 bucks, I think.
$170.
What if I put it back in the bucket for all our candidates?
Yeah.
Okay, we're putting it back in the bucket for all our candidates. It's a good deal. One thing I want to let y'all know, we would have done this already, except we're not quite sure exactly how many candidates we're going to have. We made the decision at the last meeting of the Laramie County Democratic Party that we're going to distribute $18,000 of the party's money equally among the candidates. So there's about, I don't know, 15 or 16 candidates. So every candidate in Laramie County, including all the way from Jim Byrd down to Ted Hanlon, is going to get a little over $1,000. I think that's a pretty good deal that the Democratic Party has come up with this year. Give us a little bit of money to fight with. It's really expensive to run a race. You don't even want to know how much it costs to do a mailer. So keep in mind that our Supreme Court said money is free speech, and be sure to give some of these candidates tonight your free speech. Thank you.